Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. What is the all-time high price of XRP? Unfortunately, the answer to that is much more convoluted and complex than I'd like or you'd like, and that's why I'm making this video. And I've been waiting to make this video until we reached a point where XRP was basically, knocking on the all-time highs door, which it is as of the time I'm recording this. Now, I don't know if by the time you're watching this, it's already hit, the new all-time high because we're so close, or maybe we move sideways for another several days or so. Some people think that, once the inauguration takes place and Trump's in power, that's when things are going to take off. Whatever you think, though, I don't pretend to know exactly when it's going to take off, but I firmly believe, based on historic precedent, it's going to happen much sooner than later. And so what number are we supposed to freaking celebrate? Okay, I'm very curious because I've been looking forward to this, first of all, for literally over 7 years at this point. But I have a number of XRP branded wine bottles, and the first one I opened, and I shared a picture on X at the time. It was on July 13th of 2023 when XRP got its legal clarity, and I decided that this would be another milestone. The next one that I'd open would be when XRP hit a new all-time high. So I've been waiting all that time. I want to know when I get to open my next XRP wine bottle, and I'll share pictures, but I want to know when I get to do that. And that means I need to know what the hell the number is. So let's break this down. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so here's Live Coin Watch, which I use literally every single day, and they're reporting that the all-time high price for XRP is $3.92. Then you can go to CoinMarketCap, which is the most popular crypto index of its kind, and they report that the all-time high is $3.84. Okay, well, we already got a bit of a disparity there. Now, you're going to find disparities from one index to the next because just to be clear, I want to make sure everybody gets this. They do this in a proprietary fashion, so I don't know exactly what the math is behind this. But they pull data from multiple sources, various pricing data, and then they come up with effectively an average price, and that is what's displayed on your screen in any given moment. They're pulling actual live data from multiple exchanges and sources around the world, and so if they do it slightly different, that can result in the reporting of slightly different numbers. And so that, in a nutshell, is why you see it. Now, as far as the specifics, well, we can't see underneath the hood because they have their proprietary functions behind the scenes calculating however they're calculating. Is that range even reasonable? Well, what if it's not? Take a look at this headline from Times Tabloid. This is from April 26th of 2023, almost 2 years ago. Ripple CTO David Schwartz reveals real XRP all-time high, explains why $3.84 is a misleading number. Now, I'm not going to read the article. I'm just going to go straight to the source here. And David Schwartz, of course, is Ripple CTO and one of the co-creators of XRP and the XRP ledger, and he was responding to somebody, but it's from an account that has now been suspended, so I can't see what he was responding to. I remember seeing this almost 2 years ago when it was new. I may have even covered it on the channel. I just don't remember at this point, but I absolutely very clearly remember reading this back then, but I don't remember exactly what was written here. But here's what David Schwartz wrote in response to whatever the hell we can no longer see. He said that $3.84 is a misleading number because it includes Korean exchange rates valuing the won at the official exchange rate, which you could not actually get. It was never possible to actually get $3.84 for one XRP. Due to South Korean capital restrictions, currency trapped in South Korea is not worth as much as currency elsewhere. So you had to pay a lot more of it to buy assets that could freely leave the region. This led to artificially high prices for many cryptocurrencies. Okay, so there's an oddity, let's say, within the South Korean market there that resulted in numbers being reported in a way that wasn't sufficiently in line with the rest of the world. That part is true. That's factually correct, right? And then now he had more to say, though. This is a separate post. He said, XRP once had a reported price of well over $3, but that price was computed including exchanges where the asset on the other side was converted into dollars using an official exchange rate that was too high. The real all-time high is about $2.80. So there you go. They were forced to. It sounds like it may have come perhaps even from the government over there, forced to use an artificially high exchange rate. So then when you throw that artificially high figure in with the rest of the real world data with XRP priced against, as I track here, the dollar, it jumbles things up effectively. It results in an artificially high price on the surface that isn't in line with what you could actually get on exchanges. That's what he's arguing right there. He says the real all-time high is about $2.80. Now that I respectfully dispute, because I saw with my own two eyes in 2018, the beginning of 2018, the price of XRP. I remember it was somewhere in the neighborhood of around $3.30. I remember actually seeing that myself. So that means that would have been on January 4th or January 5th, because those are the only 2 days where it was above $3. It was one of those days I was staring at it. And I was actually using cryptocurrency exchange Binance. And no, I wasn't using Binance US. That didn't exist yet. Back in the day, when I was a young whippersnapper, in the United States, you actually were allowed to use Binance. You can't do that now. You're not allowed to use Binance in the United States. Back then in 2017 and 2018, you could. So I was using Binance. And I remember seeing that price. It was right around there. I absolutely remember seeing that. So that $2.80 figure, I'm not sure why he was thinking that, but I respectfully dispute that. I saw the price with my own two eyes higher than that. And then the question is, okay, what constitutes an all-time high? Because understand that individual cryptocurrency exchanges have different participants, even though there's going to be some overlap, meaning, like, for instance, I have multiple cryptocurrency exchange accounts. For instance, I'm on Binance US now, there's Kraken, I'm on Coinbase. So I can buy and sell in all these different markets. And so there's going to be some of the same people buying and selling in each of those markets, but there are going to be other exchanges that I don't use that some other people do use. And then they're buying and selling and bouncing around off each other. And so they are their own contained ecosystems. And that's why you get slightly different prices from one exchange to the next. It's because there's different buyers and sellers. The reason that the prices stay close is because when there is a gap, even if it's a small gap from one exchange to the next, which does happen all the time, it happens every single day, literally, savvy investors and traders, they will take advantage of that, even if it's just a small gap. That's known as the spread. And so you can buy XRP for so-and-so price on one exchange and then move it to a different exchange instantaneously where it's for that brief moment selling for a slightly higher price, and then you pocket the spread, you pocket the difference. And so that's called arbitrage. And so people do that. Right. And so, but because of arbitrage, that's what keeps the price of XRP balanced on a global scale. So that's what's happening. So the fact that I saw, about $3.30 with my own two eyes indicates that depending on the exchange, it should be roughly around there. That doesn't mean it can't be dozens of cents higher or lower, depending on the exchange, because if that was close to the tippy top, then, maybe it's a brief moment, and maybe it's just a few people that were suckered into buying the absolute high. You know what I'm saying? There wouldn't be that many people purchasing the actual all-time high. But even if there's one person that purchased that on an actual exchange, does that not then constitute the actual all-time high, if that's what it was, even if it wasn't that many people purchasing it? And I would think the answer would be yes, but just because I'm thinking that makes sense, I'm willing to be persuaded if somebody has a good argument to the contrary. But ultimately, it's whatever the people decide. It's whatever the space decides, because there's going to be reaction when whatever people perceive the all-time high to be, right or wrong. There's going to be reaction to that when it hits, because it's going to act, I would certainly suspect, as resistance. But then once you're above that, it's going to go rocket to the upside. I would anticipate anyway, depending on where sell walls are. But I would certainly anticipate that they'd correlate. That would be normal. And so there was this post last night from the blockchain backer, and he said, depending on the exchange you look at, Binance, Kraken, Bitstamp, or Bitfinex, XRP's all-time high is somewhere between $3.31 and $3.35. At $3.16, it's getting close. And so that's the price it was when he posted, $3.16. Okay, so we've got that little bit of a range there. But there's also this post from Charting Guy I want to share with you. And he did a further breakdown of what the prices were, the all-time high prices on even more exchanges. And there's actually an even bigger gap than you might have guessed. Take a look at this. It's kind of wild. He says, show me one exchange that has $3.84. I'm waiting. XRP, what was the real all-time high? So the reason he says he's waiting is because he's saying there's no exchange that you're going to track that shows that the price was actually $3.84. Again, the reason that happens is what I cited earlier in the video. It's sites like Live CoinWatch, CoinMarketCap aggregating data and including artificially high prices because of the nature of how transactions occurred in South Korea specifically. South Korea, the South Koreans, they are huge fans of XRP, and especially in times when the market gets hot. The volume and purchasing for XRP is substantial to the degree that it actually dwarfs Bitcoin even. They are crazy for XRP over there. I don't know why. I've been wondering for over 7 years that I've been in the space, but it is the case. And I'm happy for it. I'm very happy for it. So anyway, he says, data from CoinMarketCap suggests that XRP hit an all-time high of $3.84 in 2018, but the CTO of Ripple has discredited this. See the pics below. And he shared the pics, which they're actually the posts I already shared with you, so I'm not going to highlight them here. But anyway, he says also, when you go to TradingView to check the XRP USD charts that have data at that time, here's what you get. And here you can see the highs for various exchanges. I'll read them to you. Bitstamp, this is the high for Bitstamp, $3.31. Bitfinex, $3.30. Binance, $3.55. Kraken, $3.34. Poloniex, $3.53. Afterprime, $3.23. Think Markets, $3.16. 8cap, $3.29. Capital.com, $3.30. And so he says the average is $3.33. Okay. So you can see that there's a fair disparity with the lowest being $3.16, the highest being $3.55. So again, I would assume, unless somebody has a good argument to the contrary, which I'm happy to listen to, I would think that the all-time high would then count as $3.55 because it's on Binance, which by the way is today the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume. That seems to make sense. And you might think it's wild that there's this big of a disparity between the all-time high prices on the exchanges, but it's actually not that crazy considering that these would have been very brief, like effectively, like really just brief moments in time. So the really high ones where there's disparities, like that could just be a wick, frankly. So these were very brief moments in time. And if there are smaller platforms where there's less liquidity, you would expect even bigger deviations, frankly. So like for instance, Afterprime, never heard of it. Think Markets, never heard of it. $3.16. Like I've never even heard of that. Do they have enough volume? Because if you have a big enough customer base using your platform, then there will be more people taking advantage of arbitrage opportunities, which would flatten stuff out more. So that might be the very reason that we're seeing that. But then with Binance, it's not like that's some sort of outlier. It's not a fly-by-night exchange. That's a big-ass exchange. So I would think that would be the high, but it does, that doesn't mean what people are going to count. And here they, Charting Guy says it makes sense to go by the average. I'm willing to hear the argument for that. Maybe there's a good argument. I haven't seen it even from him. I would think whatever the high number is, that would be it. That would be the actual high. Because like if it's $3.33, where we're just pretending that the $3.55 all-time high purchase, it didn't happen. What's the logic behind that is what I don't know. But still, people might go by this number for whatever reasons. It doesn't mean that everything that happens in crypto and investing is going to be perfectly rational. So we'll see. Anyway, then he says, with David Schwartz suggesting $2.80 and then CoinMarketCap suggesting $3.84. But again, I have never seen a single chart that shows this $3.84. So for now, XRP all-time high, in my opinion, has a range of $3.16 to $3.55 with an average of $3.33. So I'd say when we break past $3.30, we can call it all-time highs, but obviously some people can wait until $3.85. But either way, once we're above $3 strongly, then these levels won't matter and will be ran through fast straight to the $4 to $5 area. Yeah, so I think that ultimately what we're just going to have to look for, because people will be debating this for sure. I mean, it's the internet. And I think we just need to blast through all of it so we can all just agree, okay, it happened. Once you get up to $4, everyone's going to be like, well, it did happen then, because that's above everything else, right? Once you actually touch that. So we make the argument go away. Then he added this post onto it, and he wrote, I stand corrected. The Coinbase chart apparently shows $3.84. However, like David Schwartz said, this doesn't reflect the real all-time high. Also, you cannot fact check this on Coinbase, because if you pull up the real Coinbase candle chart, it only goes back to July 2023 when they relisted it. So this $3.84 on this basic chart could literally just be a placeholder from CoinMarketCap. How would we know? Yeah, so I'm assuming that from Coinbase, which, and by the way, I logged in to look at this. You can see this if you log into Coinbase, $3.84. That's what they're reporting. But I want to note, when this happened in early 2018, that $3.84 price they're reporting, Coinbase wasn't even trading XRP. So this data they're sharing, it's not from their own platform even. They weren't trading XRP. So where'd they get it from? Well, that figure matches CoinMarketCap. I think they got the data from CoinMarketCap and plugged it into their own platform. But it's not data from the actual exchange. It's not from Coinbase. Not until you get to this July date that he cited here, July 2023, can you see real data that really came from Coinbase. So that makes things even more complex, which is why I'm breaking this down. So I shared that in a separate post I wrote here. I'll note that XRP was not available on Coinbase until February of 2019, right? So that data, it just would have been more of that Korean data, obviously, which CoinMarketCap undoubtedly was reporting to get to that $3.84 figure, and then that flowed through into Coinbase. That's what I believe happened here. So I think that the actual all-time high based on this, unless somebody's got a good argument or some different data, I think it's $3.55. But that doesn't mean that so I think that's right at this point. I could be wrong. I want to hear more arguments before I have a higher level of conviction. That's just how I work in life. But just based on this data that I have at this moment, I think that's it. And if people are going to go by a lower figure because of it averages out to $3.33, okay, people can do whatever they want to do. We'll see how people respond. We'll see when people start screaming the all-time high was it. I don't see a lot of support on social media for this $3.55 figure, so I don't know that people are going to count that, but we'll just see. So I don't have a firm answer. I have what my gut's telling me makes sense, which is $3.55, while acknowledging that there could be a consideration that I haven't thought of that would sway even me. So that's just where I'm at right now. And if you know something that I don't know, because I am not a know-it-all, I don't pretend to be, drop it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear that. And that's one of the great things about having the XRP community is like none of us know everything, but we all know something, and we come together to inform one another because we are, frankly, the XRP community, which is the most amazing community in all of crypto, period. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.